I'm gonna go fuck.
Hello and welcome back. It's Tuesday, and that means we shall be continuing this treacherous traipse in Umbrella's premises. Before we begin today's topic, which will be the second Resident Evil film, I do want to say thanks for coming out to watch this. It is appreciated and it does mean a lot to me. If you feel to, go ahead and click the like button and leave a comment. And if you enjoy this and are new, please subscribe. I generally post content 5 days a week and do lives on Sundays. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are toy reviews, and then Tuesday and Thursday are scripted video game content. Sunday is generally a relax with a game and a friend day as I play with my pal Leroy. Currently, I have actually finished my Zero playthrough and have begun recording for the Resident Evil remake. But we will be here a bit longer before we get to that content. I will be doing more I really hate saying this, guys, sorry. Q-Ryuger, or Dino Charge Mini-Pro reviews this week, but I'm planning to look at some of my favorite Decepticon Masterpiece toys next, before going on to a past Sentai series such as Gokaiger, or Megaforce as it's known in the States, or something similar. Finally, Leroy and I are looking to start playing Diablo 3 on the Switch shortly, and are both excited to try it out. Now, channel stuff done. Let's talk Resident Evil Apocolypse. This movie was released in 2004, and though written by Anderson, is one of the two films in the franchise not directed by him. During this time, he was directing Alien vs. Predator. Now, this movie was directed by Alexander Witt, this being that director's debut. But that does not mean that Anderson did not have any touch in it, as he was on as part of the production staff. This sequel was officially greenlit in mid-2002, shortly after the first film. This film drew inspiration from the third Resident Evil game, as well as Escape from New York and the Omega Man. Originally, a few characters were slated to appear besides the returning Alice, such as Claire Redfield, though this was dropped. The only Resident Evil alum to appear would be Jill Valentine, Carlos Oliveira, and Nikolai, and last name starts with a G, and I'm going to murder it, so we're going to skip over it. Filming was done in Toronto, Canada, with very few sets made for the film itself, actually. And originally, the fight between Jill and the Nemesis was meant to occur in a train station, but ended up being given less screen time overall, and so they ended up filming it outside of Toronto's City Hall. Many of these changes were discussed with Anderson, who appeared briefly on set, and as I said, had written the original script. And even though he was a producer, due to his prior engagement with Alien vs. Predator, most of these productorial changes and such were discussed via email. Alright, some quick production trivia out of the way. Let us go ahead and now do a plot summary. And then I want to talk about my reaction to the movie after having rewatched it, as well as some Easter eggs I had looked up prior to watching the film to see them myself, and, a few that I wanted to talk about. So, as stated in the last episode, Alice and one of her compatriots managed to escape from the lab and the Red Queen in the first movie, only to be caught by Umbrella coming to investigate the hive further. And so what has occurred now is, as the team enters the lab, they are overrun by zombies, who escape the hive and get into Raccoon City, leading to Umbrella to lock down the city and put it into quarantine. As the city becomes overrun, a young girl is whisked from her home by an Umbrella security team, but an accident occurs, flipping her vehicle and causing her to go missing. We get an introduction to one of our heroes in this movie, Jill Valentine, returning to the RCPD, or Raccoon City Police Department, to convince the other officers it was time to leave. During this, we get to see where our returning hero Alice is. She's in an abandoned hospital, where she escapes and goes off in search of supplies. As we leave her, we see Umbrella is attempting to save civilians by evacuating them via the only bridge in Raccoon City. Though a zombie attack occurs, causing Umbrella to fully lock down the city, leaving Jill trapped within the city and amongst the panicking crowd in front of the bridge. We are then introduced to another group, some Umbrella soldiers abandoned within their city by the company that they serve. Notably, we are given Carlos Oliveira and Nikolai, I'm going to attempt it here, Genovav, Nikolai G, from the Nemesis game. Though Nikolai is very notably different from his video game counterpart as he's somewhat of a good guy. We will be meeting the video game Nikolai when we get to Resident Evil Nemesis. He is an asshole. Now, Carlos and team are overrun with Carlos becoming infected. We have another cut, and we return to Jill, who is now in a church with a few other survivors. But they aren't alone. They end up being faced with multiple lickers. Alice, in one of the more fun, albeit over-the-top scenes, smashes through the stained glass window on a motorcycle and saves the day. Now, this is one of those moments where you end up seeing that everything Umbrella uses is stamped with the Umbrella logo as they go into, like, bullet time as she's shooting at the lickers, and we get to see stamped on the bottom of one of the bullet casings the Umbrella logo. It's silly, over the top. I love it. Now, continuing on with the story. Umbrella decides to release one of their new creatures to hunt down Alice. They release the Nemesis. As well as deciding to drop a nuclear bomb on Raccoon to clear away the infection and hide their actions within. Okay, so we now get to see the father of the young girl that we saw go missing at the beginning of the film, one of the scientists who had developed the T-virus. The father of this girl offers to evacuate Alice and her team, and ends up giving the same offer to Carlos and his team. Basically giving them the same option of rescue my daughter and I'll save you. So that he has two different teams working to do it, and basically whoever gets it first, gets it first. Alice and her group find Angela, who is the missing girl, but have a run-in with the Nemesis. Alice lures the Nemesis away from everyone else, while the rest of the group proceeds on with Angela to the rendezvous point. It is discovered Angela must take a cure for the T-virus, which was made by her father, as I said. And the reason why she takes this cure is that the T-virus has managed to counteract the disease she had that was going to end up killing her, or not kill her, sorry. It paralyzed her from the waist down or something like that. But basically she had some kind of defect that the T-virus was used to cure. And so she has to prevent the side effects, zombieism, of the T-virus by taking this other cure that her father had developed. She uses some of her medication to cure Oliveira after the two groups merge. Alice and all the rest of the survivors end up making it to the extraction point, where an Umbrella is waiting for them with the Nemesis. We discover Alice has been enhanced via the T-virus during her incarceration in the hospital that she broke out of, and as such, Umbrella wishes to see her battle Nemesis to see which is stronger. Alice realizes that Nemesis is actually the other survivor from the first movie. And this other survivor breaks free of Umbrella's control and attacks Umbrella to protect Alice, allowing the Raccoon City survivors to escape before Umbrella destroys the city to hide the outbreak. During the escape, though, Alice seems to die to allow the others to escape, but as the movie ends, we see Alice survived and is being held in an Umbrella facility. Fortunately, Jill and the others find her and sneak her out by disguising themselves as security guards sent to transfer Alice. But we discover it is all part of Umbrella's plan. Alice is under Umbrella's control in all reality, as we get to see some of the Umbrella symbols appear in her eyes and get a little speechification by one of the villains. And that is where the movie ends. Alright, that was my summary of this movie, but what did I end up thinking of it? Overall, it was fun. But once again, it is very much an action-oriented movie. It's less than horror. There are some really nice references to the games by locations or scenes shot to recreate some of the in-game moments, such as recreating the helicopter scene from Code Veronica. Alice smashes through some glass at the church, as I said earlier, on her motorcycle, and it's actually a really fun, super fantastic, moment. Over the top. Way over the top, but I really enjoyed it. Nemesis also looks beyond fantastic. He very much has the look of the original Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 when you first see him. It is beyond cool, and it was an amazing practical effect, and I am always super pleased that they went with that direction for the monster. In part because some of the CGI for this movie was not so good, such as the lickers. The story, of course, is a bit silly, but is fun overall, is my general reaction. Now, you will notice, if you've ever seen this movie, or ever seen any reviews of this movie, I did leave out mention of one character overall. LJ. This character is portrayed by Mike Epps. He is used for comedic value and haha moments. And though he can be funny, he is one of the downsides to this film, I feel. I think this film would have been served better with less over the top from Epps. And as such, he is one of the downsides to the film for me. I don't enjoy a lot of scenes that people seem to enjoy. There's a Grand Theft Auto moment where he slams into a zombie while he's driving a car and yells something like, "Grand Theft, 10 points, motherfucker," or something like that, right? And it's just, I don't like it. I do not like his character. Anyways, that is my major complaint with the film. The first film and the second film really do well together, and even though there's some plot discrepancy between the two of them, they probably have some of the most tie-in value to one another besides being a continuation of the story. And I say this due to one of my favorite Easter eggs in the film. So let's get talking about some of these little fun Easter eggs or little fun trivia things in the film, and I'll point it out again when we get to my favorite one in the film. Let's see. So, some fun trivia now. Nemesis has an HUD, which you can see from his viewpoint. This HUD, or heads-up display, shows his health and ammo count, and if you pay attention, upon being injured, his health does dip, but then it will begin to go back up, further showing how he's nigh indestructible. I really like that touch. We also see a nod to the games, showing player characters' damage status by having Jill hold her waist as if she's in the caution state from the Resident Evil games. Speaking of that, though the outfit was criticized for being fan-servicey, that is indeed Jill's original Resident Evil 3 outfit, and I loved that touch. It was a very nice touch to homage the game that she was supposed to be coming from in this. Now, here is my favorite Easter egg in the film, because it gets ruined later on in the movies. Within the RPD is a newspaper reporting Leon Kennedy as being dead, though he appears in a later movie alive. So, continuity error, a little Easter egg, whatever you want to call it, but yeah. According to the original Resident Evil timeline, Leon Kennedy has died before Resident Evil Apocolypse occurs. Another paper that you see makes reference to the fact that the STARS mission in the Arklay Mountains from Resident Evil 1 took place, but in a movie version perhaps in the Spencer Mansion? It's hard to tell because the first movie is supposed to be more of an homage to the first game with the mansion and all that kind of stuff, so I don't know. But it mentions that Jill and the rest of the STARS are being put on suspension due to this mansion incident. So I don't know, kind of a fun little thing. Like, did that occur after the incident at the Hive? Is that the incident they're talking about? That some of the stars go there, and that's how Jill actually knows about Raccoon and Umbrella and all that kind of stuff? And if so, how long was Alice out? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that aren't answered by that newspaper clipping, but it definitely gives you some food for thought. And my final little fun trivia, as a nod to another game franchise brought to film by Anderson, we have, near the end of the movie, a Mortal Kombat phrase being used, which, as I said, is a film that was done by Anderson.
Judging from the age,
as well,
that guy could be
for a video
Marcus'
game
son
film.
or grandson.
One of the people says, "Finish him," as the climatic battle scene ends. I don't know. It's kind of a fun little nod to a previous Anderson film as a homage, I guess. So, anyways, overall, I think the first movie and second movie are worth watching. The other movies are fun to watch, but they are not as good as these first two, to be very honest, in my opinion. I think you wouldn't go wrong with watching these, and as I said before, watching them with some friends and some drinks and laughter and popcorn, all that kind of stuff, great way to go. So yeah, if you have the chance and you get to sit down with your friends, and you have these movies on hand, pull them out and watch them again, and just have some fun with them. Alright guys, thank you very much again for hanging out with me as we go through some silly trivia stuff, and until next time, have a great day. We'll see you on Thursday with more Resident Evil. Bye.